It's Christmas again, and for many women, it arrives quietly. Not the loud kind, not the kind that demands enthusiasm or explanations, just Christmas. The lights arrive quietly, in shop windows, on balconies, in cafes that stay open a little longer than usual. You see Christmas decor everywhere, and you notice them more when you are alone. And every year, without fail, Christmas asks the same quiet questions. Not out loud, not urgently, but persistently. Who am I spending Christmas with? Where do I belong now? I don't rush to answer those questions anymore. I let them sit. Because for a long time, those questions carried weight for me. For most of my adult life, I was alone at Christmas, not always visibly alone. Sometimes there were people around, churches, public spaces, boyfriends briefly. But when Christmas actually arrived, when the day settled into the body, I almost always found myself on my own. And back then, it stung. Christmas has a way of magnifying whatever is unresolved. You notice couples more, families more. Togetherness becomes louder, and absence becomes clearer. So if you're spending this Christmas quietly, my only question is this. Can you stay with yourself the way you once wished someone else would? Now that I'm in my 30s, which used to sound terrifying to me, but honestly doesn't anymore, I look around and notice how different everyone's lives look. Friends with children, friends married, friends building businesses, friends who seem settled. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, this thought still passes through my mind. Did I miss something? I did well at school, I followed the rules, I tried to do the right things, and yet somehow, I feel like I didn't get the memo. By certain standards, it can look like I'm behind. That thought doesn't make me weak, it makes me human. Anyone who tells you they've never had that moment is either lying or hasn't sat quietly with themselves long enough. I stayed in church for hours during Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for many years, partly because most of my adult life, I was almost always alone at Christmas. Even when I was dating, somehow, when Christmas came around, I almost always ended up by myself. Not because anything dramatic had happened. It was just how things unfolded. My family was always far away. My father, who I love very much, lived in Asia. My mother is a wonderful woman, yet we didn't live under the same roof. I guess that's how life just is for many. So Christmas wasn't really about gathering. It was about finding somewhere to be, and yes, there were boyfriends. But if I'm honest, none of them ever felt permanent enough to anchor Christmas around. They were part of my life, just not my home. I understand that now. Romantic relationships, especially in your 20s and 30s, can feel central without being stable. They come, they teach, and sometimes they quietly leave. So I learned, without realizing I was learning, not to build my sense of belonging around structures that didn't last. Every Christmas Eve, I had a ritual. I'd walk through the city center, bundled up against the cold, department store windows glowing, people lingering without urgency. Sometimes I'd step inside, anywhere warm, buying a coffee, mingling among the crowds, standing quietly, looking at books. My favorite pastime, watching life happen around me. Inside, it was warm. Outside, it was freezing. And when I finally left to go home, walking back into the cold, my eyes would sting. I told myself it was the wind, but really, I think part of me was hoping, just for a moment, that someone would come and take me home. I didn't dramatize that longing. I didn't talk about it much. I just carried it. 6. Finding peace after trauma and burnout. Here's the part I didn't expect. The hunger didn't disappear because I finally learned how to be alone. It disappeared because I stopped leaving myself. For context, my nervous system didn't come into adulthood neutral. I am neurodivergent, and I spent years living with trauma responses before I had language for them. Healing didn't look like becoming tougher or less needing. It looked like staying. I sat with the younger versions of me, quiet child, the observant teenager, the young woman who loved deeply and got hurt quietly, and I stayed. I didn't fix them. I didn't reframe them. I didn't tell them they'd be okay. I just didn't abandon them, and something shifted. The need to be chosen softened because I was finally choosing myself, consistently, not as a concept, but as a daily practice. That's when the hunger changed. Not into numbness, not into indifference, into fullness. I moved to Asia about 2 years ago, not with a master plan, not with a vision board that promised peace. What this place gave me wasn't a fantasy life. It gave me the right conditions for my body and my nervous system. I don't wake up overstimulated. I don't spend my days rushing, commuting, or bracing. My environment is quiet enough that my mind can settle. I spend my days working indoors at my own pace. I take my dog out every day. I play with my cat. I live close to the mountains in a small coastal village where nature is part of daily life, not something I have to escape to on weekends. Those conditions gave me very practical choices. I can rest when I need to. I can eat regularly. I can stop working before I'm exhausted. I can say no without my life falling apart. And that's the freedom I mean now, not doing whatever I want, but being able to live without constantly pushing my body past its limits. What that move gave me wasn't a fantasy life. It gave me distance from inherited timelines, distance from constant comparison, distance from narratives that never quite fit my nervous system. I'm still alone at Christmas, but the ache isn't there anymore. My life now is simple, but it's deeply supportive, and this Christmas, more than anything else, I'm grateful that I'm not sick anymore, honestly. There were years when my body was constantly bracing, exhausted, inflamed, dysregulated. When survival took so much energy, there was nothing left for living. This year, I feel well. And because I feel well, I can finally start rebuilding a life, not from urgency, but from choice. I think this is what aging gives us when we let it, perspective. You have to go through those earlier years, the wanting, the hoping, the please pick me moments, to fully understand how peaceful it is to no longer need to be chosen. That doesn't mean those years were a mistake. They were necessary. They taught the nervous system what it no longer wants to negotiate with. And this quiet, ordinary life isn't giving up, it's growth. So when Christmas comes around now and I'm alone, it doesn't feel like I'm missing out. It feels like I'm exactly where my life is unfolding. And I know some of you listening aren't physically alone this Christmas. You might have family, partners, full houses. And yet something in the story still feels familiar. Because what many of us were carrying wasn't loneliness. It was orphanhood, the experience of having to tend to ourselves too early. So if you're younger and listening to this, here's something I wish someone had told me earlier. Don't rush to escape your longing, but don't cling to it either. Learn from it. Let it shape your standards, not your identity. Because arriving at peace a little earlier in life isn't a loss of passion, it's a gain of freedom. This Christmas, I'm not lonely. I'm not proving anything. I'm home.